Hi, this is Todd with ESOTERIC Car Care. Today we're going to be taking a look at the importance of cleaning your pads. Okay, pad cleaning. This breaks down into a few different categories and a few different topics. But first of all, let me say this. Your pads, along with your towels, are the biggest expense that you have as a detailer. If you are a DIY person at home, it's still going to be a large portion of the expense. And both of those things are like the only items that really touch your paint. So you want them clean and you want them in good condition and you want to preserve them as long as possible. When you're talking $13 a piece on pads, and one car, you're probably going to go through about 8 of these, and $22 for a set of these, and you're going to go through 3 sets or so. It's a lot of money that you have invested in it. You want to keep it looking good for a long time, and you want them to perform well for you. First of all, I want to take a look at what a clean pad versus dirty pad. These are obviously brand new pads that we have here. Roop's yellow polishing pad and Meguiar's microfiber pad. Those are the workforces here in our shop and in most people's shops. Here's what one looks like after it's been used for a while, and then also you can tell on the microfiber pad, it's all matted down and it's got a lot of polish and stuff or compound kind of in there. So you want to try to keep these pads looking like this as much as you possibly can, and once they start getting used up a bit, you're going to switch them out to fresh pads. Typically speaking, we're not going to go more than about 1 panel with a pad before we switch it out, with the exception being on the microfiber. We can go a couple panels because these clean out really easily on the fly. A lot of that heat from the machine and the surface goes into the pad itself. And especially on a foam pad, you start overheating it, that can break down the foam inside. Once again, then the life of it goes down at the same time. So let's talk about a couple different things on maintaining or cleaning them as you're working on the car. Our maintenance ritual is a little bit different when we're on the road versus when we're in the shop. When we're in the shop here, we're using compressed air to clean them out on the fly. You have your just basic nozzle where you got the Tornador. I'm not even sure exactly how to pronounce that, but we know that it works well. But this for microfiber pads, this is the absolute best way to clean these out on the fly. I mean, you'd be amazed, once you take it, keep it on the machine, blow it out, and that thing is fresh and ready to go. Works very well on foam pads too. But what if you don't have compressed air, or what if you're working on the road and don't have access to it? There's a couple different things that you can do. You can take a brush. We've been on the road, realize we forgot something, and you run up to Lowe's or Home Depot and you pick up a basic brush that you can use to clean these things out on the fly. I mean, literally, you can take it, worst case scenario, and you can brush it out. Maybe you don't have a lot of pads with you. Maybe you don't have any other tools. Worst case scenario, you can use something like that to help clean it. And we've got a expensive DOI meter that we use. You can check out our video that talks a little bit more specifics about it. But we can take measurements and we can follow the drop off and cut and performance of a pad going from panel to panel. So there's no subjectivity in it whatsoever. We know how it drops off. So people want to try to argue that you don't need to use so many pads. We've got the tools to show that you actually do need to use a lot of pads if you want a good cut and good finish. Then as you're doing this on the fly, there's also cleaning these afterwards. You want to make sure that you fully clean the pads in between uses. You go into body shops and you go into other kind of places, they just have the same dirty pad they've been using over and over and over again and wonder why the finish isn't that great after they've been polishing on a car. The pads, even if you blow them out, they will get clear coats in them, spent clear coat, spent polish, and they're just going to drop off. After we use them, we're going to throw them in a laundry basket, or we throw them in a bucket of water right away. Might be a couple of days before we can get to them, and then we go through the full cleaning process. They get used for a panel or two, they go into the bucket or laundry basket, they get fully cleaned, they get put back on the shelf, clean area away from everything else, and we have a lot of pads that we can cycle through that. Once again, you're out on the road, it's a little bit more difficult. You know, we've got some funny stories over the years when we've been out traveling, and you know, you can only bring so many pads and suitcases with you when you're traveling. Every night we're cleaning pads and we're trying to go through everything. And there might have also been an incident that I can neither confirm nor deny, that there could have been a little flooding action that happened in a house that we rented as we were cleaning pads and walked away from the utility sink with the water on, but that's another story. Just fun stories from the road. But even through all that, you know, we go to great lengths to make sure that the pads are clean. We use fresh pads all the time when we're working on the car, and then they immediately get fully cleaned before we put them back into action. And for fully cleaning them, there's a couple different ways that you can do it. If you don't have that many pads to clean, doing them by hand is the quickest way, or the most effective way to clean them. Not the quickest, but the most effective way. You know, you can have something like an all-purpose cleaner here that you're going to spray the pad down with under running water. You can either take a brush if it's a microfiber pad, or just by hand with a foam pad, and you're working everything out of it, and you're running it underwater until everything coming out is just completely clear. Then you wring it out. You can put it on a machine, like down a bucket, spin it, get as much of the water out as possible, then put it on a wire rack to dry, preferably. But that's all part of taking care of that investment. I said pads, towels, biggest investment that you've got as a detailer. You want to take good care of them because A, they will last longer, B, they will give you better performance on your compounding and polishing process that you have. Well, I think that covers just about it all. We've thrown some fun stories into the mix here. We've talked about the necessity of pad cleanliness on the fly and for maintaining your collection of pads to make sure that they last as long as possible. If you have any more questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment box below. We're constantly monitoring, getting back with our viewers with more advice. And we always ask that you subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're constantly updating videos on new detailing tips, tools, and techniques. Well, that's about all for today for Esoteric Car Care. I'm Todd Cooperrider. Thanks. We'll see you again next time.